Thank you, Odi. And thank you, colleagues. And let me take this opportunity to actually welcome you all back to the office. I'm told that you are now back formally, back in your offices, in your space of work. I definitely see a lot of faces that perhaps we have not met physically in an environment like this, that we have only met on virtually, basically online, or on Teams in our meetings. Some of you never had an opportunity to come and have a word with me of welcome when you joined formally, but I do welcome you wholeheartedly to the family of ECIC. Yeah, indeed, Mandisi, you are absolutely right. We have had quite a journey as an organization. I would definitely want to say that to me, looking back in time, those past 8+ years, I can say that I have learned a lot from this organization. And indeed, you are absolutely right, Mapuso. This is a learning organization and we should keep it that way. Because it's only through the culture of learning that we can actually acquire the skills and the tools necessary to progress this organization and to anchor it strongly in the development, as a contributor to the development agenda of the country and also of the continent at large. As you can imagine, this is quite an emotional moment for me. I am actually having mixed emotions. I'm having mixed emotions. While on one side I'm quite sad that I have to be leaving such beautiful people as yourselves, such very professional organization, and such a very strong team of dedicated and committed professionals and leaders. And obviously, I hope that to my colleagues at ECIC that we are going to begin to see the younger people coming through, especially female, into the leadership positions in the organization. It is actually embarrassing, so to say, to find that at ECIC we only have one lady sitting there or one female. I think it is a bad indictment on our part, and I hope that we are going to do all that we could to redress that kind of a situation. On the other hand, I'm also very excited that I'm going to start doing new things, slightly different from what I've been doing here. Those who know me, I do love goats, and maybe I will start going to tender for my goats. I also had a very bad experience with a chicken farm or a poultry farm, so I think Mapula was just reminding me, saying perhaps you can still revisit that now that you will be full-time that side, and start to see whether you can rejig that firm so that it can start growing. But that is on the lighter moment. But honestly, I still look ahead and think that I still have 10 or so years to give to the country and to the development agenda of South Africa, and I'm sure that our paths are going to cross quite a number of times, because this is quite a small country and we are bound to cross paths, and it will be with very serious joy when that happens, because of the nature of the relationships we would have built while we were at ECIC here. Indeed, our journey has been quite long, 8 years and 8.5 years since I was appointed as a leader of this organization. We have had our ups and downs, but there has always been an eye on the prize. And the prize has always been to develop or to build an organization that will be resilient, as the good doctor here said, Dr. Zibanda, an organization that will be dedicated to its people, an organization that will be fostering, relationships with our client and our other stakeholders, so that we become a one web that connects everybody else. And I think that we have done quite successfully. Also, when we started this organization, I was on the other side. I was on the development finance institution. I think when it started, I was at IDC at the time. And then this organization, also we're involved in the financing of Mozal from that angle. Mozal aluminium smelter, Mozambique aluminium smelter. And that was considered a big project. And it was fairly small if you look back and look at it, disease now, it's like it's a minnow, in terms of the kind of projects that we are now, as an ECA assisting to get off the ground and to be successful. So I believe that, and when one looks back, with pride, really, that we have achieved so much. The IMU issue, that was quite a life-changing experience for ECIC. And I was just coming in, and then I was thrown into that impasse, which was quite a difficult conversation that we have had to have with the banks in 2014, 2015, until ultimately 2016 we found a solution to the issue, which basically the solution was saying, bravely, us saying, we are not a growing organization, we can handle this, bring it on. And they did bring it on. We are almost about to wipe it off, which is a good thing. And we could have even done better had they not, the government not taken a lot in taxes from us, which we could have actually used to wipe or to make good our balance sheet from those. Lately, because we have been doing so much, and I have heard other people say, hey, now the claims are coming through. Now we are an insurer, and obviously the claims is part of being an insurer. And therefore you should not be scared to pay the claim. But it must be managed. It must be a managed process. You must have done all you could to save the project. And I have actually watched the General Counsel and his team working on the restructuring of this project. And I've appreciated how difficult and how intricate those kind of discussions are. It's always nice when the money flows in. It's always difficult when the money has to be so it has been some battles. Some of the battles that we have fought, and which some of you do not know, which Mapula sometime will intimate to you, is fighting over bonuses with the board. Those were some of the defining moments where you say, no, look at the achievements we have, look at what we have achieved. Really, we have exceeded what our call as an organization. And therefore, I want my employees to be paid. And then they start saying, looking for reasons why the bonuses should not be paid. But I hope that my successor will continue to fight. It's a battle that goes on in every board ever since I've been employed. Even when I was on the other side, at some stage I was a chairman of the risk committee in one of the listed entities, and I remember very well saying, no, the CEO cannot get that much of a bonus. Why are we paying this guy so much bonuses? And that's what you are going to get. So just prepare to fight. Those are some of the harms you'll get in this journey. And then they came from completely unexpected angle, the COVID issue, which nearly took some of us. But we survived by God's grace. But I know it has affected a lot of lives, and most of us, or some of us, have actually lost our loved ones to COVID, and may their souls rest in perfect peace. And of course, in this journey, there are always battles. It's not always a smooth ride. At some stage, some of us have been, sometimes being painted with very bad things. At some stage, the CEO was, maybe because at the time I didn't have a wife and people thought that, And I remember calling my ex crying and saying, you know what they say, Kiajola. Basically implying that some of you, I mean, some ladies have been hired here because they had some relationship with me or some affair with me. Which is fun, with a person like me, you know, I mean, you don't even know my gender because, I mean, you know, because, I mean, I basically have a relationship across the board with every one of you. So, that implies that, and I have hired most of you, so which implies that, I mean, I'm Kialijola Kafe. So that which is good. That is now, you know, some of those sad moments, some other sad moments, of some fights that people have had that we had to calm down. And then it was worse when one of the fights was actually meted against me by one of the people that I hired at the executive level, and we have had to go and take each other through all the processes, grievances, and almost nearly the courts. When people are like that, and you know that they are wrong, and you're on the wrong side, on the right side of the processes, the only thing you do is to fire the person. So I do know how to fire. Don't look at the soft stature and say, no, look, I mean, this guy cannot fire anybody. I really do like to fire people who are bad. So I'm happy that I haven't had an opportunity to do that a lot in this organization, which also shows the kind of organization and the kind of maturity that all of you have had. Which brings me to the second issue, the third issue, which is how we have managed to deal with the problems or some of the issues that you may not have foreseen that could have actually affected the organization. We decided that we were going to build an organization that is anchored on very strong governance principles, very strong ethical behavior, which meant obviously that the call was for us as leaders at Exco, board, and everybody else to demonstrate across the structures, to demonstrate exemplary leadership, ethical leadership. And I think that we have done very well. I must actually applaud you as members of you know, the ECIC family. I have not, in the past 8 years that I have been here, had any issue of fraud in this organization. Something that people continuously keep on having, those challenges, not only in financial institutions, but also in sometimes even regulatory institutions. Greed is something that we, even as sometimes we cry, you know, whatever bonus is thrown at us, we say, oh, thank you. And we don't go fighting for more. We just are happy with what we receive, and we continue to work hard to build, because we understand, I think we have made sure that we understand what this organization means for the country. And we are in a better position to understand what would happen if you do not have an intervention such as the one we are having in the country. So thank you again, and I think you must actually clap, I mean, you know, applaud yourself and clap your hands. Put your hands together that you have really managed. You have really managed to uphold the highest standards of conduct befitting an organization of the stature of ECIC that is so influential across the continent. I mean, if you go anywhere in the continent where we have projects, anybody you ask at highest levels, including governments in those countries, they will tell you that ECIC is the go-to organization when you need proper, involvement in the projects that we do on the continent. Also, our technical skill and continual learning and arming ourselves with the latest innovative innovative tools to use in evaluation and analysis have earned us an acknowledgement across globally and mostly on the continent. And really globally because, I mean, you have Benin, you have TXF, you have where we meet and the forums that we meet in, where we are actually acknowledged as the leaders in Africa, ECA finance, especially when it comes to project finance. So that also says a lot about what kind of an organization we have managed to build. And I think we also deserve to put our hands together and actually pat ourselves in the back. When I first came here, he said, you must be like that snake called Mukopa. You remember? Mukopa, it basically it shows it's a cobra if you don't know it. It may be small, but it actually widens. When it gets angry, it widens its hood and actually threatens to bite, even if it's not going to bite, but it makes you sure, beware, you are not going to win with us. So we are that kind of I think we have achieved that kind of a stature now, that whenever we get given that much respect. People just don't come into a meeting with us and with our teams and think they are going to have their way because, I mean, these are minnows. They know we are very strong, we have strong teams, and we are well equipped, and we have knowledge of what we are doing. Then also we decided we were going to build the organization that is very strong in terms of risk management, and our risk maturity level has actually improved dramatically over the past few years. And I think, with the coming in of the new regulatory regime, now I think, our successive OSA, runs are becoming more and more complex and becoming more and more accurate in terms of guiding us in our both capital allocation and capital management, and also in terms of our investment management. Looking ahead, obviously the road is going to be bumpy. You must actually expect that when leadership changes, there are going to be other changes that are coming with the new leadership. Please do as you did with me, embrace whatever changes, embrace my successor, and learn from him or her as to how he or she would want to proceed with the building of the organization going forward. Obviously, you have enough tools, enough professional tools that form the sufficient exigencies in terms of the requirements of doing the job and resilience that is required. The visibility of the ECIC, Ishmael and Pushia, if you are here, and your teams, is now also a testimony to the nature of the organization that we are. We are now becoming a household brand, really a household name. You may not actually see it much in South Africa, but just cross the border and into any of our neighboring countries where we do business, and you will discover that we are, in the field of business, a household brand. So thank you again for our guys on the ground that have made this possible. Some of us will be aware that, not so long ago, we still had a lot of lengthy manual systems. At some stage, I remember cutting a lot of those processes, and I was even scared I couldn't sleep at night because I was thinking, you cut these processes and then the whole controls environment is going to be messed up. But I think we're proven right. And then we started building a digital platforms, technology platforms. I'm not saying we have been successful, but recently with the reconstitution of our ICT unit, we have seen a lot of improvement and a lot of growth and a lot of business integrations that has happened, easier workflow, etc., etc. And Paul and your team, I think we give you the honors of an applause for that. I think with this observation, colleagues, I will look back. I think when I enter my retirement zone on Friday, I will basically look back with pride at what we have all achieved together. Remember that organizations are not built by leaders, they are built by the people that work in those organizations. I think you should be proud of yourselves that you have contributed to the building of a very strong and resilient organization with many successes that are too many to mention. And then let me, in ending, acknowledge the support I have received from the executive team of the ECIC and the rest of you as well, in terms of continuously praying and making your own offerings, those who do offerings elsewhere, that I be stronger and that the teams, the organization grow. I think you have done very well, and thank you for that involvement in the actual running of the company. And I know my family is not here, but I think they have been phenomenal in terms of the support they've given me while at some stage traveling long distances, enjoying or having to endure, not enjoying, endure very bad wine in transit camps. And at least one has survived that. And for my really, what do you call a workhorse of the CEO office, Elona, thank you for the support you have given me over all these years. You have been phenomenal in that office. I think, and I would definitely encourage my successor to consider you continuing doing what you do. I know that you have intimated to me that you don't want to continue, but you have been phenomenal. And to the rest, and also I have already spoken to the members of the board and thanked them for the support they have given me. In terms, someone was saying, and where are you heading when you leave this place? At the moment, I haven't quite resolved what I'm going to be doing, but I need to take a bit of a rest, probably a month or 2 months rest, and just reminiscing on what my involvement with ECIC has meant. I think it has been the best organization that I have ever worked for, and I've worked for many in the past 30 or so years of my career path. And I think that says a lot about you and the company you have helped build and construct. Colleagues, with these words, I'm saying, please continue. Please do not despair by these changes that are taking place. Embrace them, and you will reap the rewards. Always have your eye on the ball. Do not play the man, play the ball, and have your eye ultimately on the prize. The prize being that this organization needs to be edged very strongly in the development platform of the country. Thank you.